Good morning, everybody. It's a real honor to be on the stage with these cool companies and to be in this room with all these cool companies doing cool, interesting things in a space which has typically been characterized by companies like Enel, which are perhaps not perceived as very cool. But I hope to demonstrate in the next 7 minutes why we do have a place in this cool room with these cool people. So, none of us in this room, I think, would define branding as a logo, but it's nevertheless not a bad place to start. This is the visual manifestation of who we are, and this was who Enel was up until January of this year. This was our logo. This logo was developed in 1998. So the visual manifestation of who Enel was last updated in 1998. That's the same year that a small company was founded called Google. It was 9 years before the first iPhone ever landed in our pockets. And we found ourselves in 2016 operating in a new energy paradigm, a paradigm characterized predominantly by disruption. And here are some of the things which I think over the last day we've been speaking about. All of them are very plain and clear for the people in this room. So we don't need to talk about them in detail, but just to be clear that this is the context in which we analyze our brand, who we are, and what we do. So in the context of all of this disruption, I think it would not be wrong to say that there was a feeling of discomfort within Enel. We realized that who we were and what we had been doing and the way in which we had been doing it for the last 50 years wasn't quite going to cut it anymore. But, in spite of this discomfort, we recognized that we had some characteristics which would allow us to play a role in this new energy paradigm. First of all, we have global scale. We're in 35 countries. We have huge reach of our infrastructure. We have 90 gigawatts of installed capacity across all technologies, from nuclear to wind and everything in between. We have 1.9 million kilometers of grid network. That can go around the world 47 times. We have 70,000 employees who every day light up the lives of 250 to 300 million people around the world, 61 million households and office buildings around the world. So we have this huge infrastructure, enormous scale, and we have fantastic technological expertise within our global business lines: thermal generation, renewable generation, grids, and of course, trading. So what we thought was important was to recognize the role that we had been playing in the past and how we could continue with that into the future in the context of this new paradigm, leveraging on our strengths. And what we found was that the challenges the world faces today really do need, in part, a solution to come from somebody like Enel. There are these huge problems. We'll talk a little bit about them, but some of them are, really massive. There are 1.2 billion people in the world today without access to electricity. Malaria is the single largest killer of people since the dawn of mankind. These are things which power utilities can help to resolve and address. However, we can't do any of that alone. So we have to take our power, this huge global scale and reach, and we have to open it up. We need to open up to partners, we need to open up to new technologies, and we need to open ourselves to innovation. And so we developed what we call our open power positioning, our open power strategy. Note that we started with who Enel is and what Enel does, not what we want Enel to look like. So we developed a vision. Our vision is to open power to help address some of the world's biggest challenges. This forms the very basis of our branding. To make it more concrete, we've developed 5 open power pillars of our mission 2025. So we have 10 years within which to make these 5 pillars real. The first pillar is to open energy to more people, these 1.2 billion people in the world who do not have access to electricity. That is a huge business opportunity for a company like us. Open energy to new technologies. There are new technologies arriving all the time, many of them from the companies represented by the people in this room. We need to be doing the same. Historically, Enel has been at the forefront of technological innovation, and we need to make sure that we stay there. We need to open up new ways of managing energy for people. People are becoming far more sophisticated and far more demanding in the ways in which they engage with energy. And it's been said many times during this conference, the customer is becoming far more important. And we recognize that, and that is spoken to here in this third pillar. Fourthly, we need to open up energy to new uses. Electric mobility is a great example of something which, not very long ago, was really just a dream, and now is a very concrete reality. We're then taking that further forward with technologies like vehicle-to-grid, not just charging your car, but allowing your car to power the network, the grid. And finally, all of this is underpinned by new partnerships. We can't do any of this on our own. We have to do it in partnership with startups, with universities, even in some cases with some of our competitors. So these together form the basis of our branding, the who and the what of the new Enel. I'm going to show you a film to summarize it. And that is the output. So by starting with who we want to become and how we want to go about our industrial and our commercial activities, we recognized that we needed to change the way we present ourselves to the outside world. And this is the result. A much younger, more fresh, far more open visual identity, one which has movement, which really captures the essence of power, using the cursors, the gray cursors, as the source of power, like the filament of a light bulb. And the logo itself is not the end of the visual identity, but of course we have to bring it to life online. We have to give it a digital identity as well. And so we're rolling out across the group a new set of websites, which are being launched as we're changing the names of all of our companies around the world to Enel over the course of the coming months. So this is the new identity of Enel, and I hope it gives you some insight into the way in which we are going to be approaching this new energy paradigm. Thank you very much.